And make sure we share this everywhere. Yay, we're about to, well, it's like on right now, but.
Okay.
All right, give one more second, everyone. We're gonna get everything shared and we will get started. Timeline. Okay. Okay, well, hello everyone. Jereshia Hawk here, your favorite millennial mentor and founder of the Goal Getter Group, where I help women who work a 9-to-5 build a business on the side. I am so excited because tonight we have a guest. Talisha here is one of our amazing members of our free accountability group for the Goal Getters. And she was one of the lucky winners for the 3 and 30 challenge. So basically, for the month of March, I really wanted to give back to the women in my community who've been supporting me, like watching on Facebook Lives, engaging in the Facebook group, and give 3 women the opportunity to ask whatever questions they wanted to ask within the 30-minute time span, and really to help you guys a little bit more personally, professionally, with your business, whatever it is that you want to ask questions about. So I would love if you can just take a moment to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, like what you do, and kind of like why you even joined our free accountability group.
Hey everyone, I'm Talisha. A lot of you may know me as TalishaNicole.com. I spotlight different charities, nonprofit organizations, and really focus on philanthropy on my website. And I joined Goal Getters just to have that accountability, to have a community of women who had similar goals in their business that I did. And just so we could, bounce ideas off of each other, just knowing that you have that community behind you and the accountability.
Yeah, I think that that's really important, especially when you're stepping out on something new or really trying to grow something big, just knowing that you have people there to support you and share your wins with and to ask questions of, I think it's critical and super important, regardless of whatever it is you're building, both professionally, personally, like entrepreneurially, I think that's a word. It's really important to have that community. So I'm really excited. But like I said, you get the opportunity now to ask whatever it is that you want to ask, and I'll do my best to answer your questions.
Okay. So my first question, how do you create a sustainable income with your side business?
So for me, I'm really intentional on making sure that, one, my business is sustainable. And I think that that's really important. Like, I'm not trying to create an overnight get rich quick scheme type of thing. Like, I'm really trying to create a business it's going to be a part of my legacy and it will last hopefully beyond when I'm here. So I think creating a sustainable business is one that has multiple streams of income. I think that everybody says, every millionaire has multiple streams of income. I think regardless of what level you're at in your life, having multiple streams of income so you're not too reliant on any one source is really important for creating something sustainable, or I guess something that's long-term. But I think something that's sustainable is making sure that you have a solid foundation, that you're building your business on something solid, and not just kind of rushing the process or trying to cut corners with building businesses. And I think I see a lot of entrepreneurs doing that. I think being an entrepreneur right now is like a trendy thing to do. Everybody is, whether it be like the MLMs or, we have access to the internet. You can pretty much just go file a LLC, get a website, and start a business. And I think the thing that's killing a lot of people, and why people are failing very quickly when they start business, or they're not lasting past a year, is because they aren't building a business on a solid foundation. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, one, being intentional and taking the time to create something that's really thinking through the strategy of your business and why you're doing something. I get caught up in this trap too, and a lot of others do, is we will have this really big goal of, I want to start a business. And then we skip the vision, we skip the strategy and start jumping right into the actions and the tactics. Meaning like, okay, I'm going to start setting up events, or I'm going to start a blog, I'm going to start a podcast, I'm going to start making videos, I'm going to start doing all these things without having a clear understanding of why you're actually doing all those things. So what is the strategy behind all that? Who are you actually serving? What service are you providing? What solution are you providing through your services? That whole strategy behind it. And I think so many people skip this part. And even when I relate back to like corporate America, so I work a 9 to 5, a pipeline engineer for a utility here. And even as a $1 billion corporation, we fall into that trap. And we're constantly, that's why we have a strategy team, and we'll bring in quality and strategy folks to help us, even though we've been around for 130 years. We still skip that. We'll think of what is our we notice a problem, like a big goal that we're going to hit, and we just dive right into tactics, and we wonder why we might not be moving the needle, or we're busy, but we're really not making any progress. It's because we're missing the strategy. And I think that's a critical piece, even that we're small business entrepreneurs, or what have you, regardless if you're a $1 billion business or if you're just trying to generate an extra $100 a month, you need to understand why you're doing what you're doing and actually create like a strategy that, understand what your strategy is, to create a solid roadmap to actually get you there. So the tactics and the things that you do actually make sense and help you get closer to your larger goal. Okay. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I notice is so many people skip the strategy, or really just, they try to just shortcut building a business. And it's like, when I think about it, like having a baby, you can't rush the pregnancy process. I mean, I've never been pregnant, but I'm just thinking you might be ready for your little human to come out, but you have to let it be its process. And I think the same thing goes for building a business. So I think we're also just impatient, and that we won't take the time necessary to build that solid foundation, just to ride out the process and to respect the process. I think the biggest thing that's missing for a lot of us is the strategy that's behind it to create something that's sustainable. Okay. That help? Or did that answer your question fully?
Right. It definitely did.
Okay. That was a really good question. I think it's, again, something that a lot of us miss out on, or as we're growing and building, and we're getting to the next level, sometimes we don't take the moment to stop, look back, check your strategy again. Does it make sense? Do we know why we're doing what we're doing? And just asking yourself why as you continue to grow, to make sure that you are keeping that strategy in mind and in the forefront as well.
Okay.
Great question.
Thank you. My next question, how do you find that balance between working a 9 to 5 and then all of your other endeavors?
I really do not believe in work-life balance. I think that it's, I don't know, people like to say it. I don't think that it exists, because I really believe, but I try to look at my life as like work-life integration. So because there's going to be moments where, family life is going to get more of your time and more of your focus. There's going to be times when maybe your job or your work just takes up more of your time. I don't ever believe it's ever truly in balance. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of us, especially women, like fight for that balance and then can beat ourselves up when we don't achieve it, when I truly don't believe it's achievable. But I really try to look at my life as work-life integration. And what I mean by that is I spent a lot of time, and I do every quarter I check in with this, but I try to look at what is the overarching mission in my life. What do I want to be known for when I'm gone and dead? What do I want my legacy to be? And for me, I want to help increase the representation of women in higher level leadership positions, both within corporate and in entrepreneurship. So that's my overarching why I do all of what I do. And then I'm just walking you through the process of like what I did to figure this out. But I broke my world up into 3 chunks, both professional, personal, and then entrepreneurial. And I started writing down all the things that I was doing in each one of those worlds, and realized that some things made sense. They integrated well, and they also helped me get closer to that larger mission that I have of life. But there was a lot of things on that list that they were great opportunities, or they sounded like great opportunities, but they weren't actually moving the needle or helping me move the needle to get to that high goal that I have. Okay. So that really woke me up a bit, because it's like, well, why am I saying yes to these things? And I honestly was just saying yes because somebody asked, and I felt bad saying no. And I and I think that we get caught up in that sometimes. But when I really took a step back and evaluated, Jay, what you're doing in your corporate world versus what you're doing here building this business versus also your personal life and your well-being needs to be integrated and needs to be in sync, and really should be preparing you for that next level to get you one step closer to your overarching goal. And when I had that and put that up on my wall, it helped me say no to the things that weren't adding value or weren't helping me move the needle. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of where I start in regards to like maintaining balance amongst my worlds. Just actually knowing why I'm doing the things that I'm doing and why I'm saying yes. Again, it all goes back to that strategy, because time is going to pass regardless, no matter what. If we're sitting here doing this right now, or if you're watching Netflix and catching up on Insecure, or if you are just scrolling through social media for an hour and a half, time is going to pass. So how can you manage something that you really is going to move forward no matter what? I think the more important thing is understanding how we're managing our actions, because no matter what, we're doing something in our time. It's just, are the actions that we're displaying actually helping us and serving our larger purpose in life? So I think it's really evaluating what you're actually doing and why you're doing those things, and becoming more self-aware in that process. So that was like a super long-winded runabout answer, but that's where I start. And then in regards to managing it all, I really just try to focus on like 3 key priorities every day. So every day I wake up, I, go handle my business in my bathroom. And when I'm brushing my teeth, I write on my mirror with a dry erase marker or whatever, and what are my top 3 priorities for the day. And that helps me stay focused, because it's making sure that I'm doing some action in the time that I do have that day that's, again, moving me one step closer to my larger mission. But finding that balance or whatever is tough. Like, I normally, the personal stuff is what I put on the back burner, like my health, my well-being. I normally wait until I crash, and then I start taking care of Jay. And I'm trying to get better. I really struggle with that. So I'm not sure if you can relate, or if.
Definitely. Yeah.
But one thing I've been doing, because I realized sorry, FaceTime coming through. But I realized that I can't pour from an empty cup. So in order for me to serve in my fullest capacity, I need to have a full cup to serve from. So one thing that I've been doing, and this is just the scheduler in me, is I literally have been scheduling like me time. Yeah. Literally putting it on my calendar and paying for it. So if I don't go, then I'm like, I'm going to like waste the money. But one thing I'm doing is every quarter I'm doing like a me-cation, whether that me being, staying here in my city and just going to a hotel and like unplugging for a day or two, or like going to a neighboring state just for the weekend. Like, I'm live in Michigan, so maybe going to Chicago, or just trying to get away for at least one weekend, just to really unplug, like reset, get regrounded. And then at least once a month, and that's what I'm committing to, is just once a month making time for me. So this past month I went to the spa and I stayed for 5 hours. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know how much I needed that, but just at least once a month I'm doing something for me. And I literally put it on my calendar now, because I know I'm terrible. Like, I'm ready to just give. And then I wait until I crash and burn. So those are like tactics. Did that answer your question, or do you have any follow-ups for that? Or I would love to hear, like, what are you doing, or where are you struggling with that whole balance piece?
Just when you said like taking on all these different projects and not saying no, like that is my struggle right now. So learning how to, differentiate what is really going to benefit, my mission versus doing something just to do it. Basically.
Yeah. It's tough because sometimes some really cool opportunities will pop up and it's like, Jay, that sounds amazing. But it's like, again, remember, well, one, why are you taking this opportunity? Really, what are you trying to get out of it? And I think I have these, and I ask myself these questions. Are you taking this opportunity for enhanced exposure? Are you taking it to give back to your community? Like, what's the purpose? And if none of the purpose, if that purpose, again, isn't fueling your higher passion or what your higher mission is, it's been helping me say no and not feel guilty, because now I can just blame it on my little checklist. And blame it on my little, well, according to my life chart here, it just doesn't fit. And it doesn't, I don't feel nearly as bad as I used to, because I would just say yes because somebody asked.
And that's something I will gladly adopt a checklist if it means that I streamline some of the stuff that I do.
Yeah, it helps a lot. Like I said, I would get out a piece of paper at the very top. Let me see if I actually have like my official one. It's kind of elaborate, but I don't know if I have it real or not. I'll have to try to find it because it's kind of cool. It makes me, I was just looking at it the other day. But I would really like just get a piece of paper out at the very top of the paper, write out your life mission, and then, have your 3 columns and write out currently now what you're doing in all of those worlds. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where it is, but what are you doing in all of those worlds? And that'll just, I don't know, writing it out just made me realize how much stuff I was saying yes to. It's like, I don't even really want to do this.
Right.
But I'm just saying yes because somebody asked.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really good question. You had some good questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You have good answers for me too.
Good. I'm glad that they're good.
My last question that I have for you is, how do you go about finding your ideal client?
Oh, this one took me a while to get to. So when I started my business, I'll give the full answer because I think this is going to help a lot of people. This is one question I get a lot. But when I started my business, it started off as a nonprofit. It was called Empower You Daily. And I just wanted to help people live more intentional lives. But that's like super broad and vague. And I started off making like these daily to-do lists, and I was just kind of sending them out to people. And I realized I feel like I wasn't getting any traction. I'm trying to serve everybody. I was kind of scared to narrow and niche down because I felt like, well, what if I miss out on clients? Like that fear of missing out. And I wasn't even going to have a charge for my service. I was going to call them proud to payments. And people would pay me what they thought that it was worth or what they could afford. Because I'm like, I don't want to miss out on people who can't afford my services. And quickly realized that was not going to be a sustainable business for me. So I learned, or at least started identifying what my target market was just through me taking action. So I started a 3-month coaching program for women. I had 6 women in, and it was really just teaching them how to build more intentional lives, set more intentional goals. And then through working with them, I did the program one more time. Enhanced it, just got better with the tech stuff, and realized that just through doing, I really discovered really who I was trying to serve. So, I realized I wanted to serve women. And then I realized it's not just about the mindset piece. I really want to help these women build businesses. And then it got to the point where I really want to focus on women who have a 9-to-5, who are, working, but either they just need that additional income so they can afford to go to Disney World next year with their kids, or they hate their job and they're trying to get out and they want to create something, like they want to fund their own life through their business. But really just creating an outlet for women to turn their passions into profits and really turn their ideas into income. Because so it took me 6 or 7 months to really understand who I was trying to serve. Because it went from broad, everybody and their mama, to now it's super niche down to I like to say millennial women, but sometimes we have Gen Xers and even baby boomers jump into the pool. But it took me 6 or 7 months through action, through putting out content, testing stuff, seeing how people responded. Based off of how people responded, I was able to figure out what I like, what I don't like, who I want to serve. No, I don't want to do that. It's through that trial and error. It's really how I found my person. I think that sometimes a lot of us, I'm doing my Launch Your Hustle program right now. And 2 weeks ago, the women had to work through who their target market was. And a lot of them, some of them really struggled with it because it's like, well, I did this checklist or I filled out my workbook, but I still don't figure out, like, I don't want to niche down. I'm scared to niche down. I want to serve everybody. And we need to get over that. And I think one also, like, just because you complete the workbook doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. Like, you learn through the testing, you learn through putting yourself out there, seeing how people respond, and just going through that process. So that's like how I got to the point of me understanding who my ideal client was. But really now my ideal client is, women who are ambitious. They're ready to take action. They want to build a sustainable, and they want to build a legacy, not just like overnight get rich quick scheme type of business. And that's a huge differentiator. They are women that, even though they may be scared, they're still okay. They're still going to be courageous enough to move forward and invest in themselves. And women who value investing in themselves and see the value in that. So I learned all that through trial and error, but where I'm at in my business now and how I continue to attract my ideal client is if you look at my website, you look at the wording on my website, you look at any of my sales pages, I'm very specific and just blunt, saying this is who this is for and this is who this is not for.
Right.
And having those, I call them like screens, I guess, but when you're able to clearly communicate who you're trying to serve and who this will get results for, and then who this is not for, I put on every one of my sales pages, that's clearly defined. So that helps me weed out people. I rarely get people who like get past all those barricades and they're not like an ideal client. Sometimes it happens because maybe they just didn't read the stuff. They just kind of found me out and just was like, I'm going to just book her or whatever. But I try to do that through my language on my website, through my sales copy, and also just how I communicate in my free content. Okay. So, when I am talking on Facebook Live videos or when I am promoting a new product or service, I really try to be intentional on communicating, who I actually want and being very specific about it. And letting people know, like, this isn't for everybody, and that's completely okay. I'm not for everyone, but this is who this is for. And I think when you just get clear and communicate like this is for, like, people will pick up on that and be like, oh, that's me. I want in, or I want to hear more about what you have to say, and I want to go further. So I think that's important, is just one, you as a business owner being making sure that you understand who your ideal client is. And as a business owner, you get to choose who your ideal client is. I know a lot of new entrepreneurs have a tough time making that decision because I think they're not used to being in the mindset that they get to design it. They get to pick who they work with and who they don't. You don't have to say yes to everybody. Like, everybody's money isn't money that you want to have, because sometimes working with a client who's not your person can be such a headache. It's not worth. Keep your money. Just stay where you are. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go be great over here. So I think that's really important. And so I think that's, like, I guess, baseline, really what I would say. Just be clear, you making sure that you understand who you want to serve and who you do not want to serve. Communicating that through your sales copy, through just the language that you use, the things that you talk about in your Facebook Lives, really communicating that. And then, that was like the process of how I got to that. So did that answer your question fully?
Definitely, yeah.
Are you having challenges now finding your ideal client, or like, where are you at now?
Getting the audience that really needs what I have to offer is my struggle, I think.
So one thing that I noticed, or I guess I'd like to ask is, are you intentional with actually communicating, like, who your services or offerings are for?
I don't think I've narrowed it down as much as it should be. I mean, I say, like, nonprofit organizations, like new nonprofit.
That's broad.
And it's so broad still. And I feel like there's a lot of room to bring that in some more and kind of fine tune that.
So really, I know that you said that you promote other nonprofits, but really, why are you doing what you're doing?
Just to, it's like PR, but it's PR for people who wouldn't normally seek out a publicist. And it's growing their nonprofits, people who maybe don't have big backers or big funders, big sponsors. They need all of these different things because they're so small.
Okay.
And just providing a platform for them.
So you're providing like PR services for like small nonprofits or for nonprofits in some certain like financial income, or I don't know, not income, but like for some financial bracket.
Sort of like just bringing in, donors for them, bringing in more people to their events and different things like that.
Okay. Well, that's like an awesome mission for your business. Like really trying to service those smaller nonprofits so they get the recognition and the exposure that they need so they can go serve. Do you target a specific type of nonprofit?
No.
Is there one that you're like a certain type or area that you're really passionate about?
Not necessarily in business. I focus a lot on organizations that help women and children. Like in my personal life, I do volunteering, or if I go to events, it's usually something like that. But I don't turn people away if they're not falling into that category.
Right. So I wouldn't say like turn them away. Like if a guy says he wants to be in the Goal Getter group and wants to pay, I'm not going to, come on, my brother. I will help out because men need the help too. But in regards to the language you use to actually communicate who you're providing a solution for, I think it's important for you to get as specific as possible. Because like if you're talking to a nonprofit that, that helps women entrepreneurs grow their businesses, like the Michigan Women's Foundation, for example, the language that they use in communicating to them is going to be completely different than if you're talking to a nonprofit that's trying to find housing for homeless people.
Right.
So just even the words, the lingo, like what their passions and really what their pain points are two completely different things. I mean, they may have like bridging, things in common that they may be struggling with, but it's really two separate issues. So I think it would be hard. It will be hard for a nonprofit to identify you as a thought leader and as like an industry expert if when you're just getting started and people really like you really haven't established your presence in the industry yet, if you're just appealing to everybody versus if you were to say, I help increase or gain funding and public awareness for nonprofit organizations that currently have, less than $50,000 in an annual budget who serve, teenage women in underrepresented communities or something. I don't know. If somebody, it's just, again, it's a completely different language and that they are going to be using than,
right.
another type of thing. So, and I think just when you're getting started, or even if you've been doing this for a while, but you're still really trying to gain that traction, it's pick one niched area and like crush it, kill that industry, like be known for that, and then start branching out and expanding. But when you start really high level, trying to branch out and do everybody, and you really haven't established yourself in the industry as that leader, people don't know. It's hard for the people that you want, your ideal customer, to actually find you
right.
Amongst all the noise. And like an example I like to use is if you were to go into a shoe store where they sell like high heels, but they also sell like, slippers, and they also sell like I shouldn't call them that. Let me not. I was going to say like the grandma shoes, but maybe like track shoes. They sell every different type of shoe. And you're a runner. I'm not going to go to a store that sells every single thing. I'm going to go to a specialty running store that's going to get me running shoes because I'm a new runner, because I know that they have a specialty in the industry. I'm not going to go to Walmart to buy my first pair of gym shoes.
Right.
So I think try to think about it in the same frame, and don't worry about missing out on people. But the more, everybody says it, the riches are in the niches, but like my profits, it's ridiculous how quickly my business has picked up since like October, when I really, like when the Goal Getter group was really, really created, in the sense that I know who I was targeting. I knew my branding. I knew who I was talking to. I knew who I was serving. I mean, it's been insane. And it's crazy to think that just 6 months prior to that, I was like, well, I'm trying to serve everybody because I don't want to miss out. And I was really inconsistently making money. So I think I would do some soul searching there and really put some thought to what type of nonprofits are you really trying to serve? What budgets do these nonprofits have? How are they actually going to be able to afford and pay you for your services? Because you can't just give it away for free unless, are you like finding or applying for grants and then finding, once you get funded by a grant, then finding the nonprofit?
I've done some of that, but that's not really what I try to focus on for them.
Okay.
I like to find people who already have that in place.
Gotcha. Okay. So I think that, well, that's part of your ideal client. They already have the grant funding in place. Like that's a criteria that will weed out people who don't and help you not say yes to everybody and they really can't, afford you or pay for the services or the value that you're providing. So,
Right.
So does that help?
It did, and it kind of brought me back to building something that's sustainable. So you just like took it full circle, which was awesome.
Your questions are really good. I thought those were very thought out, and yeah, definitely did bring us back to this sustainability. Is there anything else I can help you out with?
No, thank you so much. I took notes, and I'm just gonna play this back and do the work.
It's all about moving that needle. Well, please, just again, thank you so much for being an active participant in the community. The Goal Getter group is really all about empowering women to walk in their purpose and discover their passions. And just knowing that you're in the group and it just brings the whole mission to life. And it just warms my heart because it's really my God-given gift and really what God's placed on me to put out in the world. So it's just amazing to have you a part of my God-given journey with me too. So I just really appreciate you being in the community and just being active in the community. So I just want to say thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Hey, man. But if you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And if there's anything else I can do to help you along your process, or if you get stuck, just don't hesitate to reach out at all. But this is in the Facebook group, so you can definitely watch the replay. But just thank you so much again. It was so great seeing you and meeting you.
Good to meet you.
You too, sir. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I know I'll see you soon in the group. So
you will.
All right, bye.
Bye.